I think you celebrate as much as needed to celebrate, but I think you should move forward as you need to move forward. For me, it was as soon as we won, that was it. I was like, not everyone got what they wanted, and it's time to keep working. I mean, take some time, enjoy it. Go to the football game and get recognized. But at the end of the day, there's only we need 10 champs. That'd be when we're the happiest, and gotta get those wins in the finals, and those guys would have been a much better national championship. I think the atmosphere would have been a lot better. So that's kind of where I'm at. For me, I moved on pretty quick because we got to do it again. So.
You think your teammates are kind of the same mentality? You sense that?
Absolutely. All the guys on the whole team want to win, whether you're in the lineup or not. So.
I've noticed recently, you become more of a vocal leader. I know recently, you looked at your teammates and told them, "Hey guys, come on, follow me, right? I want some more titles here." What point of your career did you start becoming more of a vocal leader?
I still wouldn't say that I'm really a vocal leader. I say very few words to a lot of the guys like that. I'll help anyone with anything, but when it comes to speaking out, I think I've only done that a couple times, but I feel like the times I've done it, I've been in times where the public have seen, so it seems like I may be more of a vocal leader, but I'm always a guy who's been trying to lead by example, and I hope that everyone just hope they all work harder than me, and that's kind of where they come in. It's like, hope you guys are doing what you gotta do, and I'm not gonna go out of my way, I guess, to say anything stupid, I guess, but to me, it's just, I wouldn't say I'm a vocal leader, though. It's kind of hard for me to talk about it because I wish I was more of a vocal leader, but I'm so focused on myself, it's hard. But I would love to help my team out as much as I can. So.
What excites you about this season?
Fans, Carver. I think it was hard coming into Carver and not really being nervous as much as usual because it's a little different when you're running and people are cheering and they're loud, and you definitely get nervous. I mean, I remember my first time in Carver, how nervous I was. But if there was no fans, I don't know how nervous I would have really been. So it's just different. You walk in and you see your parents, your family, the ones that were allowed to be there. And, they're obviously cheering loud, but it's different when there's, 200 people versus, 15,000. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most. And looking forward to some of the guys on our team that haven't had that experience, like Ironman and anyone else who's going to be doing the lineup. They haven't had that experience. They've been hearing about it. We've been talking about it. But now they get to finally feel that.
You get nervous at the NCAA championships?
Do I get nervous at the end? I get nervous every match.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, come on. It's not, nerves aren't a bad thing. You can use nerves in a good way, as long as you're not freaking out. I think nerves are always good because it means that you care and that you want to be the best you can be when you go out there. And I always get nervous because I want to put my best foot forward every single time out, and that's just how you got to be. So.
Have those nerves gotten better as
I don't
your
think
career
that's
goes on?
how that works.
Yeah,
to be honest.
They've always been there like that, you think?
Well, I think no matter what, like I said, I want to put my best foot forward, so I want to make sure that I'm ready to go. And the thoughts that go into your head are, for me, it's like hard, smart, wrestle, hard, that kind of thing. And I don't care how good you might think you are. That guy's on the other end. As soon as they blow that whistle, it doesn't matter what you've done in the past. It's a new match, a new face, a new person, and no matter what, you got to put your best foot forward. So for me, it was. Nerves don't change, but they're making me smile still. That I still, no matter how good you think you are, you're always gonna be nervous. I think, for me personally, at least.
Do you have any non-conference opponents that stand out? Any tournament opponents you're looking forward to?
Can I say them all? All of them, because they're, like I said, once you blow that whistle and that handshake, it doesn't matter who they are, what their rank, what their name is, what their accolades are. All that matters is what happens in between that circle, in between that 7 minutes and more if needed. So. For me, I don't really think of any single opponent because I think they're all important because every single match is like the next, like the World Championship is the next big one. So next thing.
Wrestling's college wrestling especially, such an individual thing. So many guys are getting hyped. How do you, not pay attention to, the big name across the mat?
I mean, you just can't because at some point, all that matters is yourself. I mean, the most important person to compete against is yourself. And as long as you're trying to be the better version of yourself every single day out, it's the same thing on the mat. You're just trying to improve your position, try to improve, how you feel, how if you're worrying about your opponent, then I feel like that's just something you shouldn't really be doing because then I think you're wrestling towards their level and you should be wrestling to your level. So.
How's your health, Spencer?
I'm as healthy as can be. Do I look like I'm not healthy?
You look good to me.
Awesome.
How frustrating was it that you didn't get to do this summer what you kind of wanted to do?
Well, I mean, you got dreams and goals, and when dreams and goals get ripped away from you, what are you supposed to do? Lay down? I mean, this is what's next, and what's next is the season and being the best I can be for the Iowa Hawkeyes. So you got to move on, and you got to giddy up pretty quick. So.
Spencer, how has NIL affected you? Positive, negative?
I think that it was just a cool experience to go through, and I think the most important thing is to not really focus on it. As soon as this month comes up, I don't really want to do anything NIL at all. I want to make sure that my focus is always going to be wrestling. It's always going to be winning wrestling matches, and it's always going to be the best person that I can be. And making money isn't really like my most important factor in life. For me, it's achieving my goals, and if you achieve your goals, and I've always heard that money comes towards your way. So don't really have to worry about that too much if you're focused on what you want to focus on, which is winning.
About the experience of being on Busting with the Boys.
I think it was cool. Yeah, I think it was really cool. Well, I don't know if I ever would have got on that. I mean, my agent, he's the one that knows those guys, so it was pretty cool. And Barstool and stuff. I was with Dave Portnoy, talking with him, making his shirt, stuff like that. Just like experiences like that I may never have gotten because of NIL. So it was pretty cool. Definitely different.
You talked about when you got the Rudis deal, expanding the growth of wrestling. That's got to be a part of it, right?
Well, that's my goal. That's my goal. That's their goal. Our goals aligned, and it made sense for me to go with them just because of that. So, I'm not trying to make it like an ad over here, but for me, it was awesome just going through that experience. And then, my ultimate goal is to grow the sport. Women's wrestling coming to Iowa is something that I was super excited about, and just because of that reason, it's going to grow the sport. You leave out 50% of the population in a sport that wants to grow. I think that's an issue, so I'm glad that it's happening.
Spencer, we haven't seen the Ivy League and its competitors for a year. We open up with Princeton, a big matchup with Glory possibly. How focused are you on that opener?
I'm focused on just getting better every day. That's the real focus. And when that match comes, I'll be ready to go, just like it would be any other match. It doesn't matter who it is, like I said earlier. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. I mean, he's obviously a great opponent, and just like every opponent is going to be this year. Like I said, the most important match to me is the next one. So, if that's the next one, then that's the most important match in the world. Just kind of how you got to think about it. Every season's a big season. Every match is a big match. I mean, at this level, especially when, you think you got a target on your back, like everyone should think they have a target on their back, and move out there and do the best that you can. So.
Talking to some of the other guys, sounds like you're a pretty good recruiter.
Am I?
Yeah. It sounds like you were a big part of why they came back.
Really? Well, I'm glad that my teammates still wanted to compete with me and come back. I just feel like I knew that this was a special team, and I didn't want anyone to leave out or regret anything. So I didn't really tell them they had to come back or anything like that. I just wanted to make sure they knew that I would love to have them back and be a part of something that could never be done again, hopefully. And that's kind of what our goal is to be the best team ever. And that's your goal. Your goal should be that every year, by the way. But that's just kind of how, so I'm glad that they came back, and like Ironman and Kemmer and those guys. Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're my brothers, and I'd be sad a year without them. So.
What do you see when you're looking at that poster and everything? What's that mean to you?
Well, I think it's pretty cool that there's 10 of them, right?
Yeah.
Never had that before while being a Hawkeye here. So it just shows our team's growing, we're improving on our years every single year, and that's the goal, is to improve every year and make sure that there's 10 guys on that board next year that's a national champ. So.
Has the order of your favorite Pokemon changed at all over the course of time?
No.
Still the same?
Absolutely.
What are the top 5 then?
Oh gosh, I always say my favorite is Frostlass, and then Arcanine, and then you got Charizard.
Yes.
You like Charizard? Well, I guess the 4 and 5 kind of change. I always say Latios is probably up there usually, and then 5. I guess it just depends on how I feel. It could be anything really, so I'll just keep that open because I could change that one. But those 4 are pretty staple. If you ever look up an interview with me, I'll definitely say those 4 pretty much every interview.
And then when you got earbuds playing, do you ever play the Pokemon song as motivation?
No, I really don't. But when it does come on, it does make me smile. So, I used to listen to it sometimes, but I listen to a variety of different music all the time. So I like a lot of music. So.
Health-wise, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome.
Yeah. Did you take some time away to kind of recover after?
Well, yeah. You got to get healthy. So.
Spencer, what would that mean? 5-time All-American, 4-time national champion.
I'd rather be a four-time All-American. I don't really count the
COVID year.
NWCA, in my opinion. I wish that they would take that off the board because it makes it look like I lost a year because there's no star, right? So that's how I think. But four-time national champ sounds better to me than five-time All-American. So. But that's just how I think. I don't like give me's. Earn it.
Excuses are for wussies, right?
Oh, yeah, you said it, not me.
What has the NIL thing been like?
Yeah, it's just been really cool, honestly. It's been a really cool experience. I talked about it a little bit earlier, and it's something that I'm glad happened, and I'm glad that I was able to be a part of the first year. So pretty special.
What do you see when you see some of the other student athletes here going out and doing things like Caitlin Clark with IB and things
awesome.
like that?
I think that's awesome. I'm just glad that student athletes are able to do that, and I think it'll change the sport. I don't know, all sports, if not for better or worse, I don't know, but it's definitely something that I guess needed to happen since people think that it was wrong. So I mean, I don't really have an opinion on it. I'm just utilizing and enjoying. So.
Sorry if you covered this earlier, but all the guys coming back, and it seemed like there was this consensus, or everybody decided to jump back on board. What's that say about this team that everybody was coming together to get willing to do it?
Well, it just goes to show how close we are as a team. I know that a lot of the guys that could have left, could have moved on, could have whatever, right? But I think it's hard to give up on a dream of your brothers. Someone tells you that you can do something special, then you kind of leave that. I feel like you're letting people down, and I know that's not how this team operates. They want to be the best they can be and help everyone around them be the best that they can be. So I think that them all coming back is a tribute to that. So.
For you, this being your last year, I mean, obviously, we mentioned the 10. I mean, whether they're actually going to be the starters or not or whatnot, but when it comes to, obviously you guys have successful recruiting classes year in and year out. What do you think that does, for maybe the younger guys that are kind of waiting their turn, but seeing what you guys are able to accomplish?
Well, I mean, it just goes to show that if you listen to our coaches and you work hard and you train hard with these guys, you get to train with us, and it goes to show that you can do whatever you want to do, whatever your goals are, you can achieve those. So, I mean, we're working on it. Everyone's working to achieve their goals, and not everyone on our team's achieved our goals, and we're continuing to be the best that we can be. So.
Does it help push you and guys like I guess Drake Ayala are in here, kind of pushing you and wanting to be the best they can and pushing you, even though you're a three-time champ?
Well, I mean, you get guys coming in who want to be the best, and they're young and they're hungry, and it's just awesome seeing people who are young and hungry, and kind of how you feel when you were a freshman, kind of thing, and looking up to the seniors, and hopefully they look up to me like that. So it's definitely fun being a little older and reminiscing a little bit. So
is it nice kind of having that change of pace though when it comes in, a guy really trying to make a name for himself?
As in,
I mean, he's here for a reason too, and
yeah, absolutely.
for him to come
in. I think he came to the right place. That's kind of how I think. Smile. I think definitely came to the right place, and would have been done if he went somewhere else.
How much advice did you give, or what kind of message did you give some of the guys that were contemplating coming back? Like Kemmerer, Alex.
Well, I just wanted them to know that we were part of something special, and that I would severely miss them, of course. And I think that they should think of the situation as something as, would you regret not coming back? And because that's how I think of things. Like, would you think to yourself, I could have, would have, should have, kind of thing? Look in a mirror and tell yourself, will I regret this in the future? And I think that's kind of what happened. I think it's like, yeah, I know it's hard. I mean, for him especially. I mean, he's been here a long time, injuries, and he had the medical red shirt, and he redshirted in the COVID year. Kind of like a hard career for like him and Ironman. Guys have been here for a long time, so definitely wouldn't have blamed them for leaving. But I think that they know that we need them and we want them to be back, and it would have been hard for them to leave for us as well. So.
Spencer, you've been around a lot of teams. You had mentioned when you came in as a freshman. What's the Iowa wrestling room now compared to then?
To like my freshman year?
Yeah.
I just think that we're just a lot closer. I think the team really kind of bounce things off each other and willing to learn more. And I think it just shows how close we are.
Right. Earlier I asked Tom about, in a sense, you guys are like graduate students. You know what I'm saying? Literally. But the fact that graduate students usually study things a little bit more abstract or a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Is that what's happened with you guys? Do you guys find yourself trying things more different, more technique, or is it still just the basics? Or
I mean, Listen, basics are what win wrestling matches, so you just gotta continue to improve upon things that you've been doing, and that's what they do. They coach to you and improve you. So I mean, I think you're always willing to get better, and every single day you can learn something new. So that's what's cool about the sport. So.
Yeah, you know, well, even this gentleman here wrote a story about today's wrestlers. The top ones are how much are going to go into coaching. In the days in the past, like Tom, whatever, you'd go to the Olympics, whatever, you go into coaching. Is that your plan, Spencer, to go into coaching, or are you beyond, or something else?
Well, I mean, that's always been a plan of mine, or like a path, I guess you could say. I mean, I'm focused on myself first and foremost, and then when coaching comes, into my life, then comes the next thing for me, then I'll put my all into that. So.
But this is an experience which you guys have dealt with. Very few have. If you're coaching some guys someday, what was the number one thing you'll share with them based on this experience for the past couple of years?
Like with COVID? Or,
yeah, or COVID, everything.
What do you mean?
Everything.
I mean,
your injuries, you just, the way this is.
I mean, Tom and Terry have been injured. They've been through it. I mean, I feel like it's always better to have a coach that understands what you're going through. I mean, I feel like athletes always tend to, cope better with coaches like that, rather than having a coach that may not have done the sport. And you hear that sometimes. They never did the sport, never did it at that level. I feel like people always kind of blame them for that, but luckily for me, I've had coaches that did it at the highest level and had injuries like me, and got through it and found a way. So definitely, I'm not someone to ever compare myself to anyone like that, but it is nice knowing that they understand and they're able to help me through it. So.
Spencer, you haven't had a lot of regrets in your career. At least I don't think you have. Talking to Tom, he admitted, hey, there's some regrets he still has that still burns in him. The fact that you could tell a lot of these guys on this team, you see what I'm saying? But is the fact because of the nature of this team, it'll help people deal with any regrets or push through stuff?
I mean, the goal in life really, and not just wrestling, is to live your life with the least amount of regrets, right?
Right.
So I feel like that's just kind of how he wants everyone to understand that, whether it's wrestling, school, life, family, just try and make sure that if something's left unsaid, make sure you say it, that kind of thing. Don't live your life with regrets, and that's just how he is. And I mean, I don't think his regrets are something that he probably likes to talk about much, but he definitely teaches us not to be like that.
But I would sense, because you guys have so many experiences, that you might be able to understand when he talks about that now, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, you try and relate to someone as best you can, and he's our coach, so we put our head through the wall for him. He's the man, so he definitely knows how to coach us, and we try to understand him, he understands us. So.
Thanks, Spencer.
Yeah, sure.
Appreciate it.